Welcome back, everybody, to the Dr. Pepper All-Star Tournament 2014. We are getting around to getting ready to go into, I believe this is round 4. Apologies that we couldn't bring you round 3. We have had spectator issues. Hopefully they're fixed now, but we will have to see as we go along. I am Stress. Alongside me is Metas for this game, and we're in pick some bands here between these two teams. It's Yordlerino versus GlobalRisk here.
It's such an odd name, Yordlerino. It certainly doesn't slip off the tongue. It's going to be super confusing because their tag's actually cryptic as well, so I'm going to try not to derp around in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games that it might be a little bit difficult to keep on track of everybody. But speaking of the bans, a couple of bans that maybe aren't too obvious on this one. Gragas actually banned out, who I know he had a couple of tweaks in the last patch, made him maybe a little bit stronger than he was after the rework, but by no means a ban-worthy champion, you have to feel. So a little bit surprising on this one.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, they know something that we don't. I mean, potentially it's just a straight-up ban against somebody who's a very strong player with the champion. So we're just going to have to see how the picks and bans go through. Already, Thresh has been locked in. And picking Leona against the Thresh is quite interesting, because Thresh has a very interesting mechanic where you can just flay back.
Yeah, that's one of the stronger points of Thresh against Leona. We've seen a lot of Leona just in general, though, as... I think once you get out of that laning phase, you end up in the situation where Solar Flare just wins team fights. So she tends to be pretty consistent outside of that laning phase as well. Lee Sin locked in there. We've seen a little bit of a drop-off in the jungle for Lee Sin recently, but ever since those safeguard changes. But, you know, he's still a pretty balanced champion, still up there, one of the champions that's played a lot. Kind of more expecting to see the Feral Flare junglers, though. However, when you look at a Nocturne, you look at a Xin Zhao, champions like that, I'm expecting to see a lot more of.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Master Yi was banned as well, because he's insanely strong now that Feral Flare is a thing. And as you say, Nocturne is going to get locked in there as well, so... Let's have a look. Let's have a look what they pick in there. It's going to be Shyvana again. This is what we saw last time around. Unfortunately, we weren't able to cast it because of EU West issues, but obviously they did win the game, and they're going to be going back with a very similar composition.
Yeah, it looks like they want to run that again. It looked like it was somewhat successful. I kind of got snapshots of the game by loading and reloading, but it really was like 1 second at a time, and it looked like GlobalRisk just took an early lead and then kind of snowballed it out. It didn't look like it was... particularly too back and forth a game, so we'll see whether they can follow that one in this game as well. But hovering over the Jax, seeing a lot of Jax playing that top lane, a lot of Ryze playing the top lane as well, so really Jax has been banned out so much that it wouldn't be surprising to see him here.
No, it would not be hugely surprising. It is one of those kind of characters as well that is able to carry games almost on their own, especially if you start split pushing at the top lane and you draw a few players out towards there. Again, we could be seeing a Graves locked in, and indeed it will be. So Graves, Leona bot lane, that's a lot of burst and a lot of kill potential when you hit level 6.
Heavy burst bottom lane, that is. And really, we talked in Champion Select in the last game that Graves gets punished by these higher range AD carries, which is typically why you don't see him all that much. Seen a little bit of an increase. His passive gives him a lot of survivability with the fact that he gets the extra armor from it, and in lane it is kind of good, but when it comes to tower pushing and later game sieging, he kind of struggles a little bit, especially against a champion like LeBlanc, who can just pop forward and burst you down. So his short range really does end up punishing him, so I'm expecting to see this Caitlyn locked in. Either Caitlyn or maybe a Lucian.
Yeah, either or would be completely fine. For the reasons that you mentioned, being able to poke Graves, very short-range AD carry, and will suffer quite a bit. So even though they will have a lot of the presence in lane after level 6, if you can get poked enough that Caitlyn has a couple of items above Graves, it's not going to matter quite as bad, or quite as much, I should say. So LeBlanc has been locked in there alongside the Caitlyn, and it is over to the last pick, which by the looks of things will be the mid laner coming in here for Yordlerino.
Yeah, so against LeBlanc, a couple of options. Orianna, Nidalee, Lulu tend to be some of the better options here. Those would be the least surprising to see picked up here. Seen Fizz played against LeBlanc, but it tends not to do too well. That assassin against assassin just really doesn't work that well. One snowballs off and wins the game, and the other is kind of left in the dust quite a lot. So, yeah, Orianna would make a lot of sense here. good survivability. Orianna's always consistent. Every Orianna lane is a skill matchup because you're very rarely just going to dumpster Orianna in lane. It's pretty simple. That's how it goes.
Yeah, she's pretty safe, obviously, as you mentioned as well, very good when it comes to those fights. And you look at the composition that they're running right now, it's a lot of AoE, but also this is going to allow Jax to go ahead and split push top or bottom, whatever the case may be, because when he's Orianna, very good at clearing waves, very good at engaging alongside Leona or playing defensively to get yourself out of situations, predicaments there. So this will free Jax up to basically go and split push, knowing the rest of his team is by and large pretty safe.
Yeah, indeed. And from there, you look at their team fight as well. I think you briefly touched on it. You look at the ultimates, Solar Flare into Jax leaping in, and then Shockwave, collateral damage. That's a lot in their team fight as well. So they've got good potential across the map. And I wonder whether we're going to see Jax maybe change out for teleport. We've seen pretty much top laners exclusively running teleport recently. So I think that gives them a lot better map pressure and a lot more dragon control. I can't remember, unfortunately, who it was that mentioned it, but said that if you don't take teleport on your top laner, you're essentially forfeiting a buff at the beginning of the game because you don't have the opportunity to get over to the buff. But we'll see how that level one plays out and the rest of the game as we head in towards the game. We're in the delay period, so we're going to go for a very quick break here before we head into game. Stick with us here for the Dr. Pepper All-Star Tournament 2014.
yes, I'll prove it. Baseline kicking, yes, I'll prove it. Baseline kicking, yes, I'll prove it. Baseline kicking, yes, I'll prove it.
Hey guys, unfortunately we've got some fairly sad news for you. We're having the exact same issues this time around as we did in the previous game, whereby we've loaded in onto the Rift and none of the players are all moving. They're all stood in place. They have been for quite a long time as well, so it seems that this is a reoccurring issue on EU West that we've been having over the last few days. Therefore, I believe, Ruben, are we going to cut to a break and hope this sorts itself out? Yeah, we are. So, again, apologies, guys. There's nothing we can do. This is an EU West issue. A lot of streams are having it. And fingers crossed we'll have this rectified. We'll be rejoining very shortly.
Hello everybody, that hopefully was a very short break here as we get into the game, but there is a bit of action going on. Looks like everything is all working for now, so touch wood, we'll be okay with this one. But we are here into game between GlobalRisk and Yordlerino, so hopefully Metas has joined me in the game and is all loaded in and we can get this underway.
Yes, indeed, I am stressed, and indeed I am hopeful that this is going to be the last issue that we have of today. So, I was going to say this actually in the champion select, that I wouldn't have expected Jax to go for the 1v2 switch up because he's got Ignite, and normally that is an indication that he wants to play 1v1, try and get some kills. And indeed, that's exactly what's happened. So, Lee Sin is just camping up here in the top lane, looking for the gank onto Shyvana, and so far not looking likely. In fact, they're going to go in with the counter-strike. It does land, but I doubt there's going to be too much follow-up damage. Actually diving underneath the tower. It's never a great idea against Shyvana, and he will have to back on away.
Yeah, didn't actually get the flash there as well, so that's some time expended. Oh dear. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, okay, it was just for a second. That one looks like it wants to play ball. So they didn't get the flash there, and actually Six is going to tank up 2 big turret shots there, and they're going to follow up.
Yeah, a few tremors before the earthquake maybe here on EU West, because it's never a good sign when people start to freeze out. But regardless, mid lane some harassment being put down. LeBlanc actually lands the ethereal chains on a minion, which is never the ideal target. And actually the passive has been popped there out of nothing, so that is a little advantage going into the favour of Orianna in mid.
There was also a really heavy trade in the bottom lane. That really nice hook landed from Bazinga onto Graves as Graves tried to quick draw out, and they took a lot of his health down. They're going to re-engage.
They are flayed back, but this could be Bazinga falling down. He's going to flashback first blood to Graves, looking for a second as well. 90 caliber net away from Gibbon. Will keep himself alive. We're talking about this, that Caitlyn's probably going to have the upper hand in lane because of the range advantage. Well, if you get hard engaged on from Leona, it's just not going to matter.
Yeah, not a lot you can do from there, especially when really Bazinga was so low from there. Flash comes forward.
Super aggressive play, but they could get rewarded with this. In fact, no, Gibbon uses his flash, 90 caliber net, still has his heal as well, so they didn't want to go too deep on that one.
And it was actually Ferretta right there, not having the mana, wasn't able to follow up. That's one of the big things about Graves, is his mana costs are actually fairly high when you start using a full combination. When you take into account he's only got 415 mana, it's 70 for a buckshot, 70 for a smoke grenade as well, and I think that's 70 at the current level. Yeah, level 2 buckshot is 70, so it's a fair chunk of his mana once you start using that in trades, so having these prolonged and back-to-back fights really just doesn't work out that well for Graves this early on, but they did manage to get the flash out of Caitlyn, so, you know, it was a good exchange there.
Yeah, definitely a good exchange. I just want to confirm as well, because of the issues we've had, some people complaining about delay, are we all on 6:08 through the game?
Yes, we are, indeed.
Right, so you're a couple seconds behind us then, Ruben. That's why they may be complaining. Unfortunately, though, guys, this is a known issue when spectators having problems. Sometimes it does kind of screw you up by a few seconds, so apologies for that. Maybe we can try and resolve that as time goes on, but if not, then it's going to be a bit problematic.
Okay, do we have the ability for the stream to jump to live? Is that... Okay, you're on live, and that's,
that's
like
the issue.
5 seconds behind, is it?
Yeah. It might even be worth you reconnecting, Ruben. I know it's going to be crappy for the next few, like 10 seconds, but it will fix the problem for the rest of the stream.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So yeah, we can just like radio broadcast while you're doing that.
Yeah, sorry we're having kind of like a halfway conversation with you guys on stream, but you unfortunately can't hear our producer as we're discussing through this, so we will do the old radio cast thing, and we have to reconnect as well. So it's a good time for us all to reconnect.
Oh, man.
Oh, spectator
EU West. EU West, what can you do, mate? Well, it's double IP weekend, so maybe it's... I think you mentioned this before, one of the break stress, that it kind of overloads the server. Apologies for this.
It's one of these kind of... Not good for us, of course, but it's a good problem to have. So many people want to play our game that our servers don't hold up all the time.
Yeah, this has been happening over the last week with a lot of the tournaments that we've been casting, and unfortunately there really isn't a fix. You just have to wait it out and hope that it fixes itself, but it's not looking good. It certainly isn't, because we've had these problems already in both of the games. In fact, all 3 of them now, because you casted with Nature, didn't you, where it kept happening as well?
Yes, indeed. We did manage to complete most of that first game, never actually saw the end and just had the score screen. So I've actually had the opportunity to speak with a few people about these spectator issues, which, of course, I've not received an official comment on it, because that wouldn't be good to be done. But they are known about, is something that I will say. So it's something that is being worked on, but is such a difficult problem because, as you alluded to, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's actually like spectator servers get completely shut off, which tends to be what happens when we have this problem for a while. They just kind of say, okay, no more servers for it. But, you know, again, as you said, it's just a case of waiting it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's really nothing else that we can do here. Obviously, we can try and keep you updated. We can try and keep you informed on how the game is going, because of course this is just a spectator issue. They're still going to play out the game, regardless. So the best that we can hope for is that we do finally get back in. But until then, really, there is nothing we can do, and I hate this feeling of helplessness. It's such a frustrating position to be in, because we want to get in this game. We want to cast it for you guys. And we kind of just sat around waiting, and that's really where the frustration lays for me personally.
There is one fun part I get about this, which is when we're constantly reloading. Sometimes when we turn the stream off for you guys, we are actually constantly trying to get back into game. You see a snapshot of what's happened, and I like trying to piece together what's happened between it by just the numbers that you have on screen. It's just how I keep myself amused in these problems. But you know, I mean, again, we want to bring you the game, and actually my reload has started to work, so hopefully we will keep ourselves live and we'll be back into the game. But right now, 2 kills to 1 in favor of Yordlerino. Got to keep remembering that. That's
it's a weird name.
It's a strange name, but of course, this is an open tournament here for the Dr. Pepper All-Star tournament. Really, like, kind of interesting idea as well, because I mean, these aren't pro teams, we'll say that up front, but they're going to get the opportunity to be coached by LCS players. Today's is Xpeke's qualifier, which, you know, is a pretty cool team to be on. Like, that's a pretty cool team captain to have.
He's a guy that's been around the block a fair few times, and obviously at the top of his game, so players really are going to get a lot of reward if they do go through, as you say, this qualifier all the way. So there's going to be a few more games coming up tonight as well. Hopefully EUS keeps stable for that time, but I'm back into the game as well here, Stress. So again, I'm just going to do a quick checkup to make sure we're all around the same time, about 10:50.
Yes, okay, so we are, and 6 is maybe out of time here, as that's a lot of damage getting put on him by LeBlanc in the jungle, but they're going to be careful that Torikma doesn't start to roam a lot, because that's where LeBlanc really has that effect, is when she can get up to the top lane, get into other lanes, find people in the jungle, and just burst them down in this mid-game period.
Yeah, that's really where they want to make this LeBlanc work as well as possible. Does already have a kill, so reconnecting into this one. I think the only kills that we saw up until this point were at bot lane. I think it was Graves got the first blood. So obviously some more action has kicked off here. Divinity going in, actually misses the Zenith Blade. Meanwhile in the mid lane though, that is going to be LeBlanc, aforementioned super bursty champion's going to pick up a kill, and now they're rotating to bot lane. This doesn't look too good right now. And here comes the ace in the hole, blocked off from Leona. However, there's not enough creeps. Probably not going to be able to dive it just yet.
They may look to rotate towards Dragon. You can see that Dully is around this Dragon area, and will look to start that off. He has already got his Wriggles Lantern. Let's take a quick look at how stacked that is for now. At 17 stacks, so still a little way away. Remember, we are on 4.6, so it will be 30 stacks that is necessary for that Feral Flare upgrade. But, you know, we've seen Nocturne in the LCS kind of start stacking around that 13 to 15 minute mark, so getting towards that point, and Bob in that top lane, you might have caught that, was actually out of mana there and wasn't able to follow up.
Yeah, sorry, I just paused for a second because I thought they froze again. This is the paranoia that you get. Jax was stood there for a while, but fortunately that's not the case.
The thing is, I have a feeling like players are going to start to troll us if they know. Like, they'll just start a game and completely stand still, and we'll just be like, wow, not working then.
Yeah, they'll actually force us to quit the game. It turns out everything was a-okay. But yeah, actually, something I wanted to mention before. Yordlerino, with a name like that, to not have a single Yordle on your team, I feel that's bad manner. Surely.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like an RP tournament, so you don't have to roleplay your roles. Just get a full Yordle team every game. I wonder how easy that would be to A, do, or B, ban out. I'm just trying to think of all the positions, because you could have Tristana, and then Lulu.
Teemo top.
Yeah, it's possible.
Be mid? Ziggs?
Oh yeah, you could have Ziggs mid, and then Poppy jungle.
Yeah, it's doable. It wouldn't be very good,
not
but
the
it's
most
doable.
Meta team, no. Not a lot of synergy there.
Well, you could have Rumble top actually as well.
Ah, yeah, you could. Okay, that's a better option.
Still, you would probably get dumpstered.
You probably would.
It's not the greatest of lineups.
Oh, you could play Teemo jungle as well. I think Pulse has done that a couple of times.
It would
He'll play
surprise
Teemo
me.
in any role, to be honest.
He will. His tank Teemo is actually quite scarily good. Teleport a bot lane though, coming in here. That's going to be Solar Flare landing, but before the teleport even charges off, but they will manage to escape.
A little bit of a mistiming there on that ultimate. I mean, they did get the teleport. Obviously, they'll know that cooldown is now not available, but that was a big engage tool used. I don't think really that was quite worth it for either team when you look at it. I mean, if you had to say it was worth it for one, it was probably more worth it for Yordlerino, because they got a big cooldown, but not really anything gained from that.
Yeah, they're trying to come back again. How useful would that Solar Flare be right here, right now? Flay's going to knock two of them back, and this should be the end of this engage. Indeed, it will be. And he had Solar Flare. He stunned both players. That could have even been a double kill. So it just goes to show how important. In fact, Bazinga's gone back in. Nice flame mechanics, though. But here comes 6 from the side. Beautiful Dragon's Rage. Domino effect there, knocking Caitlyn into the air, but here comes LeBlanc from the side. How much do Yordlerino want this, and what's it going to cost them? It looks like it could cost a few more lives. Ferranda is going to go down for the double kill, looking for the triple onto Divinity, and here comes Dolidu from the side as well. It's not looking good for Leona. They actually expend 2 ultimates to pick up the kill, and maybe a bit of overkill there.
Yeah, well, they wanted that kill. They wanted to make sure they got that. But Caitlyn actually, I believe the Dragon's Rage knocked her out of the channeling animation for the ace in the hole, so she wasn't able to kill one of the opposition members before they actually got that first kill. But that was really nice roam out by Tarikma, and that's what we'll be talking about. He's going to pick up another kill here in this middle lane, unless the Shockwave can help it.
Oh, and the heal as well will keep Meteor alive. That was touch and go for a few moments there. I agree with you. I thought that he was definitely a dead man, but well played by Orianna.
Yeah, a nice Shockwave kept him alive. I hadn't expected it, but with that heal available as well, it's just enough to keep him alive from that one.
Yep, but is fairly low right now because both summoners were expended to escape, and that's definitely going to give Nocturne something to target towards in mid. Meanwhile, LeBlanc is going up to try and steal away this red buff, or potentially steal the life away from 6. And could very well do this one as well. Comes around from the side. Red's already been picked up. Is he going to try and jump on top of him? Does indeed go so with the ethereal chains. Oh my goodness, that burst damage though. I did not expect it to go down that fast.
Oh man, DFG plus 2 level advantage is not a good spot to be in there for Lee Sin. Really just got burst down, and there's not a lot they can do now. 5-0 LeBlanc is just going to roam around and pick anybody off. I mean, Jax isn't going to be able to stop her if she starts roaming top lane either, so they have to try and avoid LeBlanc at all costs right now, and that's a tricky spot to be in. Let's have a look. LeBlanc actually sitting on 1600 gold as well, so likely to head back, finish up those level 2 boots and start working on some more AP.
Yeah, the early stages though are not looking good for Yordlerino. 7-2 and 3.4k gold advantage this early on in the game is pretty scary. Random Bob's getting a lot of farm as well at top lane. You can see that Chival and Dolidu are trying to make some plays happen, but Random Bob is so big. There's a Dragon's Descent coming in as well. That's instantly going to force the flash out from Random Bob and the Leap Strike, and he's going to be okay.
Dolidu still not having Paranoia available from that earlier engage, and that's one of the things about Nocturne, but hang on, Random Bob just going to get completely deleted bottom lane, however.
Yeah, Bazinga is going to go down from Lee Sin. Ace in the Hole came out as well, but it's not going to be doing a great deal from Gibbon. So with that free kill picked up, they're now going to transition towards the Dragon. 4 players strong, should be pretty comfortable, but it's already gone.
Yep, already gone, so no Dragon here for Yordlerino. And yeah, Dolidu really wanted to get in on that top lane, didn't need to in the end because Tarikma was there, but the lower levels of Paranoia from Nocturne has a significant cooldown on it. I believe level 1 is like 160 seconds, level 2 is 140, so that's quite a large cooldown when you consider that Nocturne really needs that cooldown to get into fights. It's pretty difficult for Nocturne to get into lane in the earlier stages of the game without a lot of crowd control if he doesn't have his ultimate.
Also see that from the movement of Yordlerino, they thought the Dragon was up and alive, and needless to say, they were not aware of the timer. Dolidu and Thorikmar are going to go in, try and pick this one up, but there's Lee Sin from the side. They do have the ward down. This is getting picked up though, and I'd have to say this is going to be a free Dragon on the side of GlobalRisk, and now they're going to pull away. Top lane, Random Bob again is going at it with Chival, who has his Sunfire Cape.
I'd like to see Dolidu spend a little bit more time in the jungle. He's only at 23 stacks, which on 4.5 would have been Still a little bit later than you'd expect, but at least he'd be fairly close to finishing his Feral Flare. He's actually still 7 stacks away, and we're nearing the 19-20 minute mark. So just the fact that that Feral Flare is a little bit later than perhaps he would like it, is the rest of his team are significantly ahead. So it's not a factor that is that big, but just one of those would nice to have been finished earlier things, really.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing though from Nocturne, as you say. The rest of his lanes are doing such a good job that there's no real pressure on his shoulders. He can still fire in the Paranoia when needs be, even from across the map. Obviously, the vision advantage it gives your team could very well be what saves them. So even though he isn't necessarily in the position he wants to be in, he's still in a pretty good place overall in the big picture. So looking pretty good again for GlobalRisk here, and I can't see how Yordlerino are going to pull themselves back in the next few moments.
It's quite a big ask right now. They're a good few thousand gold down, and they've got a lot of damage down on their turrets. But bottom lane.
Yeah, there's the Dark Passage though. Gibbon's going to get away. Nice flay again. Here comes Lee Sin flashing around the back. The insect mechanics will secure the kill on Thresh, but he sacrifices himself for his AD carry. So well played in the end. Could have been a hell of a lot worse for GlobalRisk.
That's what they need to do, though, to get the ball rolling. They now need to shove this all the way in the bottom lane, because really they have no other objectives on the map that they can even look at. Dragon isn't there. They have to get this tower, but you can see the roams already come down from Nocturne. Nocturne Caitlyn, between the Duskbringer and Piltover Peacemaker, can just chunk through that wave, and it's really not that effective for Yordlerino to push down there. That's one of the problems with Graves, is that normally when paired with like a Lulu, he has decent pushing potential because you can clear the opponent's wave kind of similarly fast, but Leona doesn't really benefit that. I missed a kill up in the top. Apologies.
To be fair to you, it was very quick.
I was going to say,
just doing what LeBlanc does, a 7-0 bursting. Look at those items already.
Wow.
Staff, Death by a Grasp, Sork Shoes. That is insane burst. And again, though, what I was going to say is Random Bob is overextending against the LeBlanc, and he's been punished twice for it.
Yeah, agreed. And really, there's not a lot that Yordlerino can do to push towers. Oh, nearly getting another kill in the middle lane. Paranoia.
That's a very aggressive Paranoia as well, so it's going to get shockwaved underneath the tower. There's the heal as well. Dolly Doo will be falling. I should say it's the opposite way around. Meteor will be falling to Dolly Doo, but that was touch and go for a few seconds because Six was lurking around the shadows, wasn't able to close the gap, and will be a nice kill at the end of the day. Now looking to push bot lane.
Yeah, they're going to look to push. Can't quite get the hook, so they won't get an easy turret here, or an easy kill, but wow, that's aggressive. Man, that's a lot of damage.
It certainly is. Didn't even land the full combo. It's going back in for seconds. Does get the Dark Passage. That was interesting mechanical play from Torek. Wow, like really trying to screw with the minds of Yordlerino.
Yeah, that's one of the things about if you're a good LeBlanc player. It's just you can be so flashy on LeBlanc. It's pretty easy to start picking up kills once you got those mechanics down as well. So gonna go in aggressive once again, just chipping them down again and again.
I don't know how you deal with it as well, because she's so slippery that you have, yes, you got Lee Sin who can close the gap. You've got the... Did she just flash?
Yeah, she did want to go aggressive.
I was talking as I saw a flash, and it completely put me off my point, because it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't make that much sense. And what else doesn't make sense is Orianna getting caught out in the opposition jungle right now, as she's going to fall here.
Going back in again, Torek is... bloodthirsty as all hell. I mean, I guess he got 7 kills, so why the hell not? But at this point, he's going to give away a lot of gold and shutdown gold if he does get caught out of position. There we go. The Q lands from Lee Sin. That's going to pop off the passive from LeBlanc, and they will finally back on away. But my goodness, so aggressive.
And what that aggression in the bottom lane actually kind of inadvertently did was Shyvana roamed to middle lane, and Random Bob's actually had quite a bit of time now to just free farm up in that top lane on his own. Got a tower, got extra farm. Nocturne equalized the tower with the middle lane tower going down, so that's not the biggest thing, but really giving a Jax free farm is a way of Yordlerino coming back into this game. Jax will start getting better and better the later this game goes on, but until he ideally reaches now 3 items, typically you say it's Triforce, Blade of the Rune King, he's going to need a Banshee's Veil as well. Like, pretty necessary. There's no way he'll survive against LeBlanc without it, but once he gets to that stage, he will start being able to really just fight people.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That Jax wants to build aggressive, he wants to be able to duel people, but at the same time, when you have a very fed LeBlanc who's going to burst you instantly, and surprise, surprise, Tarkmar's going top again just to try and do that, it's a difficult situation to be in for Jax, because do you build more damage to try and push towers down, or do you play defensively to keep yourself alive and kicking for longer? Because the rest of his team right now, they need a hero. They need someone to step up to the plate and say, okay, I'm going to carry you all on my back. Yes, Graves got 3 and 2, but that's going to do nothing against LeBlanc. LeBlanc could just jump past Graves. He's like a caster AD carry, and if he misses his ultimate and buckshot, he doesn't offer a great deal.
And this is something we talked about with the summoner abilities in that top lane, was the fact that there's no teleport on Yordlerino really reduces their map pressure, and that's one thing Jax really needs in this later game, is the ability to join a fight when they split, because like this, he can't be there.
And they get given, but who are they going to jump on afterwards? Because they've been forced back from Bazinga. Fires in the death sentence. Ace in the hole comes out, gets blocked away from Meteor. Delidu has caught the resonating strike, and also on top of that, the Sonic Wave combo. LeBlanc's going to pull himself back to get the tower at top lane. And meanwhile, the rest of Yordlerino, all 4 players, are being chased down. They're being stalled out from going to top lane. And in fact, they're taking quite a bit of damage. Both teams are. But you have to feel that GlobalRisk can pick up this dragon very comfortably while LeBlanc deals with Jax at top lane.
Yeah, GlobalRisk held the 3v4 at that situation, then got Shyvana to teleport down, and wow, Jax gets obliterated. I was not even looking at the top, I only saw the icons on the side go down there, but they're going to kick this fight off once again.
Chival taking point right in the front lines. Remember, Dragon's Descent has been used. There's a shockwave. That was nice. Landed on 3 players. However, they still got the follow-up damage to take this one down. Graves taking the front. Maybe not the greatest of ideas that he's ever had. Now Gibbon is going in this 1v2, realizing that both of them are weak. He can smell the blood in the water. He's very nearly going to secure the kill. In fact, he flashes in after the heal went down. Now Gibbon's taking a bunch of damage from the tower. You'll not be able to secure that one on Leona, but the whole time we're talking, LeBlanc is still pushing the top lane and very nearly takes this tower down by herself.
Yeah, she doesn't have the best tower pushing potential, but as soon as it's that low, she will just take that down in the end. And really, that's just GlobalRisk just really using their champions to their full effect. Knew exactly where they could fight and where they couldn't. And ended up, I believe, they took the dragon, they took 2 towers there, and they now have... up in that top lane, that exposed inhibitor here for Yordlerino. So, you know, GlobalRisk are looking pretty good here. They had a significant lead to begin with, and now they're up to 12,000 gold. My goodness, I don't even have enough time to go over to the other side of the map before she starts killing people.
Well, that's it. It's just all the burst right now from LeBlanc, and we were asking questions as to what Jax is going to build into. Finished his Triforce, which is all well and good. That's not going to stop you from this 100-0 combination that LeBlanc is firing in, so... I feel a bit sorry for Random Bob. He's trying to do something at top lane. He's trying to split push, but he's being completely shut down.
Yeah, he's being pushed further and further back in his ability to actually reach what we like to dub the Jax point, which is a very, you know, loose term for that Triforce Blade of the Ruined King point in the game where Jax really does start becoming effective, but this game, as we mentioned earlier, going to need a Banshee's Veil on that. In fact, most members are now going to need a Banshee's Veil to want to even hope to compete, which, to be honest, they're about another 10 minutes off finishing items and then getting a Banshee's Veil in this situation. So, yeah, GlobalRisk just have to really continue taking objectives like they are, and Yordlerino really somehow have to turtle and just get given anything like a kill here.
They tried to pick up the kill on Thresh and did use his flash in the process. Here comes a Paranoia though, jumping on top of the AD carry and also AP carry, both been caught in mid. This would be huge right now for GlobalRisk. If they can pick them up, they get the free double. And now 6 in no man's land is going to find himself caught between a rock and multiple hard places. He is going to be safeguarding though and flashing away. However, both the carries are dead. I do not understand that re-engage, Leona. There is no sustained damage to follow up, and he's going to be falling as well as this mid tower. Couple of head-scratching moments there. LeBlanc's going back in. Surprise, surprise, gets the kill. Moves on 11-0.
Yeah, now they rotate out towards Baron. They've got the Feral Flare. They've got a Shyvana with the Blade of the Ruined King and a lot of damage elsewhere. And the re-engage there, I believe, was from Random Bob getting all the way onto Black Gibbon at that point, who thought they could get the kill on Caitlyn, but she still had heal. Healed herself, got out of the fight, and kind of baited that re-engage from Yordlerino. So it was just the fact that they thought they could go in and pick something. Oh, Random Bob. Oh, this isn't going to last very long.
Deja vu. I can't help but feel that he's a bit sad at the moment. He's doing a lot of damage to LeBlanc, to be fair, but 4 plays v1, 0 and 5. Yeah. Is this around the time that you'd be throwing in the towel stress?
Well, come on, man. They got the passive. Nailed
it's
that
worth.
bit. It's totally worth. But yeah, well, I always hate saying that games are too far gone, but I think an 11-0 for LeBlanc kind of tells the story on this one at nearly 30 minutes into it.
Yeah.
But
And a couple 0 and 5s as well on the opposite team.
You know, to go along with our sponsor, I'm going to tempt fate and say, what's the worst that could happen? And now that I've said that, spectator client will completely crash.
Yes.
But look, it's good advertising, okay?
The curse of the commentator.
Now I just need
stress.
somebody. Hey, look, that may as well be your moniker. That time you said to me, "Hey, this day can't get any worse."
Oh man, I hope and pray the spectator mode does stay up, and it seems to have been stable the last few minutes. I'm tempting fate, really, aren't I? I'm actually prodding it in the face.
Well, you know, as I said, what's the worst that can happen?
True.
I'm just gonna keep saying that until something bad actually happens, and then at least it can be really ironic.
I guess the good news, though, that one of the saving graces from the composition that Yordlerino have, and this is something actually mentioned in the bans phase, they have Orianna. They have pretty good wave clear as well with a buckshot from Graves. So if they can turtle in deep, allow Jax to get to a very big kind of situation, allow their AD carry and AP carry to start to get fed as well, they do have a slight glimmer of hope. But the problem is that when you have a LeBlanc, doesn't really care about towers, and as we've seen already from Torikama, he doesn't mind diving because he's very mechanically skilled.
Yeah, and he's also now bought himself a BF sword. Don't know whether you caught that one.
Wow.
Yeah, he says it's a misclick though. Which, you know, I would believe if there wasn't an undo feature.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely you just press, you know, the big undo button. Oh, actually, bot lane Inhib Tower has fallen alongside Orianna. That's going to be double kill actually on the side. Olidu is going to be going down, but the damage has been done again. They get both the carries out first. That's never a good situation to be in. Underbob's trying to jump back in. There is Divinity going very manly, but he's going to get punished for this one. Has to flash as well. There's LeBlanc with a double kill. And it's just going from bad to worse. Chival's going in, trying to make something happen on random Bob. Ace in the hole as well, but they're just forcing him away, and they're going to push the Nexus towers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can. They've got a good 30 seconds on a couple of the members here from Yordlerino. And yeah, they're saying that was a funny one in chat. It's a good game, and it looks like that will be the end of this game for, I believe that was round 4 here for the Dr. Pepper All-Stars tournament. Not over yet, but I have a feeling Torikma's going to have something to say about it.
Yeah, that BF sword's going to come in use now when he's attacking the Nexus. So it was worth. And they did get the win. 26-6, very one-sided affair there in the end for GlobalRisk, who will progress through to the next stage. And pretty confident showing.
Yeah, very confident showing, and we didn't catch their first game, unfortunately, but now that we've seen them in action, we will, I believe, follow them again in the next game. So that'll take a little while for us to get into game, but we're going to head to a break, get everybody into game, and get back to streaming some of this action from the Dr. Pepper All-Stars Tournament 2014. So stick with us here for Chaos TV. We will be back very shortly.